Hi and welcome to the weekly market update. It's Tuesday the 6th of August 2013. Okay, it's been a relatively sort of quiet start to the week and there's not too much major data out this week. We're really feeling that sort of holiday mood at the moment. So yesterday we had out, it was mainly services data from across the globe. It started off with the China PMI services data, which came in at 51.3, slightly better than expected, especially after the poor data that we've seen coming out of China recently. We did see the services data holding there. Out of Europe, we had all the PMI services from across the regions, all doing generally better than expected, so some good data from across Europe. And then we also had the UK PMI services data, which came in massively better than expected at 60.2, so some really good data for the UK there. Otherwise from Europe we had retail sales, which we saw down 0.5% from a prior 1%, so not so great for the Europe in terms of the retail sales that we saw. And then in the afternoon we saw the US non-manufacturing ISM, which essentially is their services reading as well, this coming in at 56, which was also better than expected, so a good day in terms of data yesterday for everywhere really. In terms of data that we've seen this morning, overnight we saw in Australia the central bank cutting rates by 0.25% to keep them at 2.5%. This was sort of expected action from Australia. From Europe, we've seen Italian industrial production, that coming in at 0.3%, pretty much in line with expectations of what we were meant to see there from Italy. From the UK, we've seen industrial production and also manufacturing production, and again, those figures coming in much better than expected for the UK. So a really good picture being painted, and optimism really picking up in the UK at the moment. From Italy this morning we had GDP figures. We saw the contraction of 0.2%. We were expecting to still see a contraction quarter on quarter, but it was better than what we were expecting, the negative 0.2. We were expecting negative 0.4 and the last reading was negative 0.6, so it is actually quite a positive reading for Italy there, even though they do remain in contraction, slowly pulling their way up. Also we had German factory orders this morning, and so not too much out this morning. And then this afternoon we've got US trade balance to come, and also the UK NIESR GDP estimate for the 3 months ending July. Obviously the last reading was the 0.6%, which we saw tie in with quarter two. This is the 3 months to July, so we get that estimate from the NIESR this afternoon. So where we're trading around about now is the FTSE around 66.07. We've got the Dow future at 15,612. Eurodollar's around 1 spot 32.80. We've got cable around 1 spot 53.69. The gold future, this is looking at the December future, is 12.91 spot 80, and then we've got the Brent future, which we're looking at October, is 107 spot 78. Okay, in terms of data for the rest of the week, it sort of follows the theme of the week of sort of bits and pieces of data after our busy week of central bank statements last week. Not so much in terms of action that way. Tomorrow we see firstly the Bank of France sentiment survey, and that's expected to tick up slightly to 97 from 96. And otherwise from France we've got the trade balance data. This is again going to be a theme of the week, the trade balance data coming out from all different regions. From Germany we've got industrial production, that expected to come in at 0.3, it's down 1% last, so we're looking for an improvement there. But the big bit of data tomorrow I think is going to be the Bank of England quarterly inflation report is released, and we're also going to see Carney speak alongside that. We're expecting to see those forward guidance, more benchmarks, more outlines of what we expect to see in terms of the Bank of England's action going forward, dependent on data. Some people are looking for them to talk about the unemployment data. Some people may be looking at growth figures, so GDP figures. So waiting to see exactly what we hear from Carney there. They obviously didn't make a statement alongside the rate decision last week and the asset purchase decision, so really all eyes are going to be on that tomorrow morning. Otherwise for data tomorrow, it's just from the US in the afternoon to mortgage applications. They were down 3.7 last. Okay, so then Thursday, data from Europe, we have got German trade balance data, expecting a better picture there, expecting those imports to have fallen and those exports to have risen, so hopefully looking like a good or a better picture for the trade balance in Germany. We've also got Spanish industrial production, we're still expecting that to come in negative, down 1.2%. We also get the ECB publishing their monthly report, From Asia overnight as well, we will see China releasing their trade balance data, and we've also got the Bank of Japan, that's the central bank of the week. They're making their rate target decision, and also they will release their monetary policy statement alongside that, so we'll see that coming in early hours of Thursday morning. From the UK, there isn't really much data Thursday. I think people will still be digesting those comments that we see from Carney on Wednesday, but no data to really watch out for. And then Thursday afternoon brings the US initial jobless claims and continuing claims, as we do every week, expecting initial jobless to expecting a slightly higher expectation for those, but nothing really too noticeable, otherwise expecting them largely in line with the readings that we saw last week. We did see a weaker non-farm number on Friday, did surprise to the downside, so interesting. People will be keeping an eye on these weekly initial jobless and continuing claims data that we see. Okay, finally into Friday, we've got a bit more overnight from Japan, the M3 and M4, so the money supply there. Obviously we've had a lot of QE in Japan, so interesting to just watching out how the money supply is looking out there. From China, quite a bit of data overnight. We've got their CPI, their PPIs from some inflation data, and then we get industrial production and also retail sales, so quite a good picture of health from China. In France, we've got industrial production and manufacturing production, and we're expecting those to come in better than last. Italy, we've got the trade balance and also inflation data in terms of CPI. From the UK, again, trade balance data, and then we've got construction output, which people will be watching out for. We've obviously seen positive data pretty much across the board, but we're actually expecting, or the consensus is for construction output to come in down 1.9% month over month from a flat reading last. So expecting to see some weakness here, and year over year expected 0.2 from down 4.8. So a worse picture month on month, but hopefully improving year on year. Otherwise, Friday, it's the LTRO repayment at 11 o'clock from the ECB, the announcement of what will be repaid next Wednesday. So we're seeing consensus is around just over 2 billion, 2.5 billion that we're expecting as the combined total there for the LTROs. And then Friday afternoon, we've got US wholesale inventories, expecting those at 0.4% from down 0.5% last. Okay, so as I said, sort of data's bits and pieces. We've seen the services early in the week. We're seeing industrial production, manufacturing production data, and then quite a few trade balance figures coming out throughout the week. But the thing to watch out for really is going to be Carney on Wednesday when he presents that inflation report from the Bank of England, looking out to see exactly what he might give us in terms of forward guidance. Okay, thanks very much. As usual, any feedback would be much appreciated. Thanks.